I just wanna let you in. Let's take control.
Hey guys, welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. Hello, my name is Samantha and it's great to have you. I upload videos every Sunday, so if you want to get in on that, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell down below. As you can tell by the title of today's video, we are talking about sobriety. We are talking about my personal experience with sobriety, and we're going to do a Q&A. So over the last couple months, I've been getting a lot of questions from my followers about my experience with sobriety, and because I like to give very informative, long-winded responses sometimes, it would be beneficial for you guys as well as myself to take all of the questions I've been asked and put them into a video format. So today I'm going to be going through all of the questions I received on my Instagram, which is down here, by the way. If you don't already follow me, you can check that out. I have a very nice page, in my humble opinion. So if you guys are curious why I'm sober, how long I've been sober, what substances I've done in the past, or what the general sober experience is like, keep on watching. So to give you guys a little bit of backstory on my experience with substances of varying degrees, I am not going to front and act like I'm somebody who's super adventurous, super out there, and has done everything under the sun. Honestly, I've hardly done anything. Like, I smoked weed for a couple years and I drank. I've done DMT once. So basically that is my laundry list: alcohol, marijuana, and DMT. I was not one of those people who started smoking weed in high school, even though all of my friends were, and honestly they were doing things harder than marijuana. I was rather uninterested. I didn't start smoking until after I'd graduated, which was probably a wise choice for my developing brain. No shade to anybody who started smoking earlier. It's just, I feel for me personally, that was probably the best course of action. I had initially started using marijuana as a recreational activity, not to help anxiety, which is something a lot of people do. The reason I quit smoking was because it was negatively impacting my anxiety. So I started smoking for fun. I stopped smoking because I would have panic attacks every single time I smoked, and obviously that isn't like what one wants. So I was like, no thank you. I cut that out. And I would say that stopping smoking was more difficult than removing alcohol from my consumption, strictly because I was around people who did still smoke, and they were very adamant on including me in that activity, and they didn't really understand that like it was a permanent decision for me. They thought it was kind of just like a phase, but no, it wasn't a phase. It was a long-term decision I'd made for myself. And yeah, it wasn't that I felt pressured to indulge with them. I just felt awkward having to repeatedly explain myself to somebody. That was probably about 2 years ago at this point. I basically stopped smoking entirely, and then very shortly after I stopped drinking entirely. There was no string of events that caused me to stop drinking. I wasn't like an extremely messy drunk. I wasn't going out and vandalizing people's belongings or, you know, acting a fool in public. But as somebody with anxiety, even though I know I'm fairly mild and well behaved while I'm drinking, I still did have that fear every morning that was like, did I lose something? Did I disrespect someone? Did I make a fool of myself? And like, none of those things would ever happen, but because I had anxiety, I had, of course, made myself terrified that that was my reality, because that's how anxiety is. Thank you, brain. So I figured that instead of constantly exposing myself to stress and fear of like, what did I do last night, I would just stop drinking. And that was an extremely easy transition, which I did not expect. I still remember the last drink I had. I had been like contemplating going sober for like maybe a couple days, maybe a week or so at this point. And I was on a flight to New York to see my man, and I was in business. So when you're in business, they basically give you whatever you want. If you want 10 glasses of white wine, they got you. Normally I would drink like 2 to perhaps 4 glasses of wine on the flight from Toronto to New York, which is a 50-minute flight. So that's 1 glass of wine every 10 minutes approximately, which is a lot of wine, okay? But the very last time I was drinking, I got about halfway down my wine glass and I was just like uninterested. I was like, I guess like I'm just not feeling good, or like I am tired or whatever, like I'm just not interested in finishing this. So I didn't. And then from that point on, I just had no desire to drink whatsoever, so I didn't. I understand that's probably very different from a lot of people's experience with going sober, but that is my backstory. Unexciting, but successful nonetheless. So let's dive into the Q&A. I've got a lot of questions here, so we're gonna just go through them. Not in any particular order. I'm just going to start at the beginning, and hopefully this is semi-coherent for you guys. So the very first question is, what was the hardest part? And like I said, when I stopped smoking marijuana and I had people around me constantly pressuring me to continue to smoke, and I had to explain myself over and over and over to them, I would say that was the hardest part. I haven't really had that experience with alcohol. It was really only with marijuana, because a lot of people, honestly, no shade, but they just use like smoking weed as their personality. So if you're not partaking with them in that, they feel like slighted. So it becomes a problem. The next question is, what do you think about when you're tempted? I'm not tempted. That's the thing, and I so wish I had advice for you in that particular instance, but I have no desire to do any substances any longer. What I would suggest is that if you're in a social setting, like at a party or a bar or a restaurant, you can just have a mocktail made. Honestly, nobody's going to be able to tell the difference, and you're still able to share in the experience of sharing a beverage with your friends and family. So that may not be exactly what you were looking for, and if you want me to expand a bit more on that question particularly, please do let me know down below and I will. The next question is, why or how has your life changed since? And the biggest thing I would say for me is the decrease in anxiety. Obviously, I still have anxiety, but not having that fear every time I wake up of, oh my God, I don't remember getting into bed last night. Like, did I remove my makeup? Like, where are my shoes? Where's my phone? Did I plug it in? Stuff like that. Like, having those fears no longer a part of my life has been so beneficial and so calming. And to add to that, I'd also say that my life has changed in a sense that now when I'm out and I see people drinking and I see how they behave, I get like secondhand embarrassment for them. You just get a totally different perspective on it, and that perspective isn't necessarily a positive one. So my life and my mindset have changed. And like, that isn't to be judgmental or anything, because obviously I was there at one point too. It's just being sober gives you a fresh set of eyes. Why did you / why should other people follow sobriety, and what are your thoughts on alcohol? Again, anxiety is why I became sober. Why do I think other people should become sober? Honestly, I'm not going to push this lifestyle on anybody, and I'm not going to tell anybody what they should do in terms of their consumption with alcohol. But I think that if you're somebody who is looking to improve your mental health, your physical health, your mindset, your enjoyment of social interactions, then sobriety might be something to consider. And the third part of that question is, what are your thoughts on alcohol? I think it's fine in moderation, like everything is. However, people too frequently rely on it as a crutch in social situations. I was one of those people, so no hate. How do you handle being sober when going out with friends who drink? Honestly, I don't really go out. However, on the rare occasions I am out with friends, I will just have water with some lemons and limes, or I will have some tea or iced tea. And all of my friends are cool with it. They know, and they're unbothered. So like, it's really not an issue. I would say on that note, if you have friends who are not respecting your decision to remove substances from your life, you should also consider removing those friends, because if somebody is actually a friend of yours, they want the best for you. So if they're constantly encouraging you to do things that go against what you feel is in your best interest, then those might be people that you should cut off. Just saying. Someone asked, how long have you been sober? And I have been sober for approximately 2 years. I say approximately because, like I said, the day I chose to stop drinking was just like super low key and unimportant to me, so I didn't record it on my calendar. However, my best estimation would be 2 years being entirely sober. Somebody asked, when was the moment you knew you had to change? For marijuana, it was just when I started having very regular panic attacks and I could not smoke without being super anxious. For alcohol, similarly, it was anxiety, but it was also when I had like no recollection of a majority of the night before. That was very scary to me. I didn't want to be opening myself up to dangers that I could have avoided if I was in a clear mind state. Somebody asked, when did you decide to get sober? Did you do it independently or through a group/meetings? So like I mentioned, I've been sober for 2 years officially from all substances. Did I do it independently or through a group/meeting? I personally did not need to do that, but that doesn't mean that that's like the right way to go about things. Like whatever is right for you is the path you should take. I have a lot of people asking about socializing and going out to bars with friends while sober. I've never been a bar person. I think in my entire life, I've been to perhaps 3 or 4 bars. However, just as I had mentioned previously, all you need to do is have yourself a water, a soda, a mocktail, and if anybody gets in your business about what you're drinking, you have the choice to lie and say, oh, I'm drinking a rum and coke, a vodka water, whatever. They probably won't care to begin with, to be honest with you. Or you can just say, I'm not drinking tonight, I don't feel well. Or you can say, I'm sober. You've got lots of options on how you want to handle that situation based on who you're with and what your comfort level with them is. But honestly, just know that you owe nobody an explanation for the choices you make. Did you suffer from insomnia? No, but I do take melatonin, so perhaps that could help. Like if that's an issue for you, consider getting melatonin. My partner and I have lost 95% of our friends when sober. Did the same happen to you? No, because my circle has always been extremely small. So while yes, I have lost people in my life over the course of the 4 years where I've been transitioning to fully sober, I would not say that my decision to go sober was what removed them from my life. It was just my progression as a person. How much were you drinking before and how did it affect your life? That is a great question. I was drinking way too much. My main issue was when I was traveling and I was going out for nice dinners, I would have like a lot to drink with my meal and then I would have like Ciroc to drink when I got back to my hotel room. So with dinner, I would have like 4 or more drinks and then shots or another martini once I got back to my room. So you could say that that's like approximately 7 drinks per evening. And that was like a weekly basis sort of thing. So I definitely drank way too much. And that definitely impacted me mentally because of course alcohol is a depressant. So I was not feeling mentally clear. I was definitely feeling like in a fog. I was feeling disoriented. I was just not feeling like me. Also, it definitely negatively impacted my image. Like, I think my skin went through a moment where she was just not having it, and I can't blame her. Thankfully, the glow is returning, but yeah, it definitely affected my skin. I think that's it. If I have anything to add, I'll put it in the comments down below. Somebody asked, how are you not triggered in a society where liquor and pre-alcoholism is so normalized? When you're no longer part of the community that drinks, you're able to see their actions and behaviors in a very different light. So I think that once you get to that point, honestly, the triggers kind of subside because you're like, that is unappealing. So someone asked, what do you say when your friends ask, why don't you drink or party anymore? I hate the peer pressure. Honestly, say whatever you feel comfortable with. If you're sober because you're trying to take care of your body, or alcoholism runs in your family, or it's stressing you out, or you're spending too much money, whatever the case may be, if you feel capable of being honest with them, tell them that. Hopefully they will respect that. But as I said a couple times throughout this video, if you're around people who are constantly peer pressuring you to do things that you're uncomfortable with, those are not your real friends. How do you avoid the temptation, especially when you dine out often? Mocktails. As simple as that. Hi, what helped you stay strong? I work as an addictions nurse and I know it's hard. First off, thank you for doing the good work. Secondly, I just have a very strong extreme personality. So like, it's either one extreme or the other. For the longest time, I was on the who cares what I put in my body extreme, and now I'm like, I want none of it and I have no desire. So I'm very fortunate for my extreme personality in that particular sense. How do you feel being sober? Honestly, I feel great. I'm happy that I can actually remember the things I experience, the dinners I eat, the conversations I have, the fun I experience with my girlfriends or with my boyfriend. Like, it's very freeing to actually have control over my mental state, because until you've stopped drinking alcohol, I really don't think you can understand how profound of an impact it has on you, both physically and mentally. So yes, I feel good. I feel great. I will never go back. Thankfully, I have no temptation to do so, so I am in the clear. I hope this video was helpful. I hope that I answered some of your questions. If you guys have any more, please do leave them down below. If you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. I am proud of all of you on your journeys, and I will see you in the next one.